Okay, how's everybody doing? So today we're going to have a little introduction to Illustrator, and I have the Creative Cloud subscription, so everything's always up to date. So the first thing you want to do is to open up a new document or create a new document. So go to Create New, and we'll talk about the little options that present themselves. It's always, working 8.5 by 11. Always makes life kind of easy because it's a familiar size, and you can always change the size as you go on. Over here, well, you can name your document if you want. I'll call it a new doc, and the height can be, the measurements can be in points, picas, inches, or, what I generally go in. You can make it horizontal or vertical. And right here, the number of artboards. So the surface that you're going to be working on is called the artboard. And you can make two or three at a time. We'll just do one for now. And these are margins on the top and the bottom, left and right. That's pretty self-explanatory. Advanced options are the color mode. Now, the two choices for color mode, you have RGB or CMYK. RGB means red, green, blue, and that is if your artwork is going to be displayed on a screen, either on a TV screen or on the computer screen. RGB is for work that's going to be presented on the screen. CMYK is for artwork that's going to be printed, and CMYK means cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. Key is the key color, which is black. Now, it's funny, when I started working in Illustrator maybe 15 years ago, actually working in Photoshop back then, they, the publishers wanted the artwork in CMYK. And as time went on, I work in RGB usually, even if it's for print, and you can always convert it. There's a mode you can convert. So I'd rather work in RGB and convert it later rather than work in CMYK, because it doesn't always seem to go as smoothly when you're working in CMYK, and the colors aren't as bright. Now, the tricky thing is, if you're working in RGB, the colors may not reproduce. But I generally don't work with intense, like fluorescent colors. So my colors are kind of subdued, so it's never a problem converting from RGB to CMYK. But if you're a designer, as opposed to an illustrator, designer, if you're working for print, you should definitely be in CMYK. And we'll do CMYK for now. Anyway, I might be giving you too much information right there. Okay, so I thought I said create new. Oh, there we go. And I think when we did the collages, if you saw that tutorial already, a couple things we covered is lots of times you open up, it's in Essentials. And Essentials seems to mean the bare essentials. It doesn't give you too much, but I like, get my little face out of there. Essentials Classic gives you a lot of options from the start. And this row of tools over here, you can either click these two arrows to have them in one row or two rows. Sometimes I like them in two, sometimes I go back and forth. And this is the artboard here. And when you make things, you can make them on the artboard, or you can make them not on the artboard. Now, sometimes when you're working on a piece of paper and you have some scrap paper to the side, it's almost like the area outside the artboard is kind of like scrap area. Up here in the top, this we call the navigation bar, and it's kind of like Word. If you go under there, you click it, you see the drop-down menu, and under File, New Document, Close a document, save a document, and right down here, Document Color Mode. Now, remember when we set up the file, when we created the document, we had a choice of CMYK or color, and we can always change it once it's in progress or afterwards. So we can go back and forth between CMYK and color. Go to Edit over here. Probably the most important command you're going to use is Command Z, and that's undo. So whatever the last step you did, you can always hit Command Z and go backwards, and you can kind of keep going backwards and backwards and backwards, back a step, back a step, back a step. So Command Z means undo, and that's probably one of the most important key commands you're going to know. It's really worth memorizing. I should also say Command Z is on the Mac, Control Z is on the PC. So I'm on a Mac, everything at KU is on a Mac, so we're very Mac oriented. I'll try to remember, I probably won't remember to say Control Z for you PC people, but you kind of need to just do that instant translation anytime someone says Command, you think Control. Okay, that's good there. Okay, and over here we have the toolbar, and either one row or two. Let's keep them in 2 rows. Now this right here is the selection tool. This is probably the most important tool you're going to use. It's the black arrow. This is kind of like home. And we'll talk about the other tools a little bit later. Over here are your palettes. And up here, this kind of, there's certain ways that your workspace, I guess, is the way you have the palette set up, and you can either pick Essentials or Essentials Classic. And I have a couple things open up here, so I'm going to go to a Reset Essential Classic. That kind of gets things set up right there. Good way to begin. Let me get my little face out of here so it's not interfering with things. But we'll cover all these little odds and ends as we go on. And if you click on all these things, actually that literally is a palette, isn't that right there? The color, you know, little, get out of the way. So the color comes up there, swatches come up there. So these little, they're windows. And another way to get them open is to go to the drop-down menu that says Windows. So you just you can see a check mark. So brushes are right there. That's the, this is the brush. See, now it's gone. Click on this one. That's symbols. That means over here, oh, symbols we just opened up. So there's 2 ways to open a little window, palette, whatever you want to call it over here. You can either click on the symbol once you learn what the symbol is, or you can, you know, that's a stroke. So notice if you go over here, stroke, you could, if you just clicked on it here, layers. So there's different ways to open up every Windows, but when they have them set up this way, it kind of makes it easy just to click over here. And these are the kind of the most common ones you'll probably be using. Okay, now it's time to start creating and actually doing something. So let's go to kind of the basic unit is a line. So we can make a, you know, there's a medium line, a short line, a long line. And line has 2 endpoints and I guess potentially an infinite number of points along its surface. Kind of brings you back to geometry class. And line can be, let's switch over here, straight, or line can be curvy, but there's no fill, like it's not creating a shape. It's just a path. And that's what you call the outlines of things, is paths. So if we go over here, we'll go to the Ellipse Tool, and now we're making a shape. And let me just give it a fill in with some color. So shapes, they have paths outlining them, and they also have interior spaces that are filled in with color. So you have lines and shapes. And those are the basic building blocks. Let me make this different color. Make this the outline bigger. So right here is a black shape with a red outline. And if I wanted to, I could make a red line there. So that's basically it. Okay, thank you. Show's over. Now, this is pretty much the building blocks of Illustrator. Everything is either a shape or the path around the shape. Now, believe it or not, that can give you an infinite number of variations because the color inside can have a gradation, can have a pattern. The path itself can be thick or thin, but it can be a furry texture. It can be nothing. So with those two elements, all the images that are created in Illustrator get started. So it's kind of fun. We'll stop right now.